Hello, it's Nancy welcoming you to Gardens Grow. So the sky is not gray, but all the leaves are brown. I put a picture of this little bush. This is a St. John wort's bush, and it's beautiful actually. In the spring it has little yellow flowers with kind of in a ball in the center of it, and it looks like it's fiber optic. The tops of them do, the little parts that stick up. And then this year I got to see how beautiful it can be in the fall, and I put that on my Instagram post because I don't believe I've ever seen it that color before, because our frosts have came before it has a chance to turn the beautiful red colors. It starts out just looking brown, really, basically, and then it puts on some yellow and then some orange, and then it gets more orange and yellow together, and then it turns into that beautiful red that I showed you on my Instagram post. So and I've also noticed that all the people all the gardeners on my Instagram where I look on it, they all are saying, I can't wait till spring, I'm missing my flowers, I can't wait, there's only so and so many more days. And I'm thinking, winter, winter, winter. Like, I just need more winter so I can get myself together and feel like coming back out here and doing all that will need to be done, because there will just be every little spot will be a great big chore to get finished, to get fixed up and look beautiful again for summer. And then, the summer's heat will come on and we'll just barely make it through that, and then the welcoming cool of fall will come back to us. So anyway, I'm going to do the best I can to do it, but honestly it is getting very hard to do. Still worth it though. We are definitely in need of some rain or snow or some kind of moisture. Hopefully not ice, but we definitely are. We haven't had a good rain since I can't remember when. Actually, since we were getting the garden ready for fall, or ready for winter. When we were winterizing the garden, we did not have rain and have not had rain since then. We did have a little bit of snow, so any moisture is good. Just a few YouTube posts ago I told you that these were beautiful petunias, and they were the kind that come back from seed, and there's bukus of seed on here now, so hopefully this will be filled out again in the spring. But I told you that it would go away too, and there it is, all dry and brown. Another chore waiting for spring. Today is January the 11th, and so we do have some more winter to go through, and I'm grateful. Actually, I'm not ready at all. I hope that I can come out here in the spring and say that I'm ready to start this up again. But as of right now, that's not exactly the case. This pretty little salvia, still nice and green. And I came out to see if there were maybe some seeds that I had missed, and here are some, although I think I got enough of these probably, but I may come back out and get these also. And of course these are the little purple globe flowers, the strawberry fields, Gomphrena. This is that little wormwood or artemisia, and look at that. It looks like that would never be alive or never live again. And I probably will have to trim all this off, but the root, of course, will be hopefully, and it has before and should be, coming back out again in the spring. But when you look at it in the winter time, you just think everything is totally dead. But down below all this stuff, the roots are doing okay. But like I said, we do need rain. We definitely do need rain for those roots to keep doing okay. This is the pretty sedum, which will all be clipped back. And there may be already some. I can see it from here. There is some trying to come up there at the bottom. So in the spring, it will be like this. And they will just come on up and make new ones and put these beautiful tops on them full of bloom for next fall. But I kind of like these when they have snow on them. So maybe we'll get some snow, and I'll get you some snow pictures too. So I leave these, but as a matter of fact, I leave a lot, or most all of it, for through the winter and clean it out in the spring. Sometimes it's just so much easier because it will just break right off after it's gotten brittle, and you don't have to just clip every little thing. There will be some that you'll need to clip, or that I'll need to clip, but a lot of it will be just able to break off when spring gets here and it's had its time to go ahead and dry out everything. But I also wanted to tell you some of the things that worked and some of the things that did not work. This is Alyssum, and it usually doesn't do a whole lot until fall, and then it usually just flows out, billows out, keeps getting bigger and fluffier and more beautiful with little white blooms. And this one actually did fairly well for me, but I've seen it do so much better. And you know, I loved this little plant. This little plant right here is a licorice plant, and it's the color of the Dusty Miller, that pretty soft powder blue that is just so lovely. And I will definitely want to repeat this as much as I can. And while these little pots were lovely, I had to redo them so many times, and I'm going to change this up too. I'm not exactly sure. I love the spike in these, but they're also annuals, so I'm going to see if I can't get something like maybe the larope, the monkey grass, to go in the top of it to look similar to a spike, and maybe put some moss in there too, because it seems to do well in these little pots and keep going, not have to be replaced. And then all the, maybe not all, but a great portion of my other little pots I'm planning to do in sedum, and you can actually tell that I did get some started here. I was wondering if any of it was still alive, or even if the root was still alive. Because of not getting much rain, but otherwise I'm pretty sure this would make it, and I think it still may, so I'm hoping it will. And I'm hoping to get sedums started in all of these, or most of these little pots. That's not to say that I don't love the other plants in there and the many colors in there. It's just that I need to make something a little easier for myself. And if I can get sedum to grow in here and do well and come back every year, then I can wait until fall and then spruce them up with color from the things that I've already got in the garden by just transplanting them in with the sedum, which is also very pretty when you have a mix of different flowers. So I don't know if you would say this did not work, because it did look very pretty, but it's also something you have to continuously change as the season changes, or as the heat comes on, and some of them can't make it in that heat and you have to put something else in there and change them out, and I just don't want to be doing that as much. And here they are, what I was looking for, some seed that I had forgotten, and I definitely had forgotten these. I thought whenever I left them, because they were still pretty, and I thought I've got to remember to come out and get some of that seed, because these are the big pretty marigolds. So I do want to come back and get some of these seed. And for what did I learn? Well, one thing would be, I've already known that you can put things in pots and move them around, but I have a tendency to not move them around. But I did this one. I moved it out, and it added some color in a space where it needed it when the lilies were blooming in this. And they're still in there. The bulbs are there and will most likely come back this coming spring or summer. And I did already learn that there is a choking out. You have to be careful to not put an aggressive plant beside some other plants that you want to keep, because they will definitely take over and choke those non-aggressive plants right out, and you'll no longer have them. So they both have their place in the garden, but not side by side. But also I learned that not only is there a choking out, there's also a shading out. And my husband helped me to trim these trees back. You can probably see where he trimmed them back, so that my irises could get some sunlight. They were dying here, and now they're trying to come back out. They look really great, even though they're small right now, because I trimmed them back. And I love to do this in the fall before actually I don't love to do it anytime, but I do want it done, if at all possible, in the fall, because it's just so much easier. But I had some larkspur growing up with them down on this end, not necessarily on these. This was just being shaded out because of the trees. And then these practically disappeared, the iris that I had here, because I have larkspur growing up in there. And I'm going to keep some of the larkspur, but I will not let it just choke them out like I did before. Or see, that's not the word for it. They didn't choke them out. They grew right up in there. But I learned that there's another word for it, and that is shading out, because, and that's what we've been talking about with this also. But these actually grew up tall and pretty and just grew in with the iris. So I thought everything was fine until I realized that my irises were going away, and it had literally caused a shade over them so that they didn't get enough sun. So I pulled up a bunch of these larkspur. Even though they're beautiful and I love them, I don't want them to shade out my iris. And although I've known about stratification ever since I planted my first hollyhock and it did not come up, and I tried them so many times and I never got my hollyhocks to come up at all. And I've learned that they have to have a cold period, so I tried that too, and I just didn't have any luck with it until I just got a plant. And then once your mother plant comes up and puts down little seed, then they just come up, and it's because they're used to they've grown accustomed to their elements, and they have the heat and the cold and the rain and just everything. They're already conditioned to that. and they're able to just sprout and come on up. And that's what stratification does too. If you leave the plant out, if you'll notice, sometimes you have volunteer plants coming up everywhere, and they've been left out through the winter to be conditioned to go ahead and sprout. And I also learned that you can put your seed in some of these little mesh bags that air can get through, rain could get through, and that way they're cold and used to the elements. And I'm hoping that these, I can never get my coneflower seeds to come up for me, so I'm trying these in here. One of them is the pretty bright pink, and the other one I believe is a orange, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I'm going to try to get these stratified by just leaving them hanging here in the elements and safe from birds in this little mesh bag. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.